Hello everyone and welcome. In today's video, we're going to talk about the inverted winger role in Football Manager. And let's get started with an overview of the role. The inverted winger is a role played in the winger position in a formation, and can be used in the midfield or in a more advanced position. Like a traditional winger, you'll sometimes see the inverted winger staying out wide, dribbling at the defense and getting in crosses. And then other times, the inverted winger starts out wide but cuts inside to attack space in the midfield. That's the big thing about this role, is that he still keeps some of that winger DNA in his player role. He is an inverted winger after all, so you'll still see him occupying space out wide, dribbling at the defense and getting in crosses. Like in this clip where the inverted winger is on the flank. He gets the ball and thinks about going inside, but instead stays wide to hit in a cross. The thing that makes him an inverted winger though is his ability to cut inside, usually in a diagonal movement. This movement, either on or off the ball, can be a nightmare for opponents to try and defend. This is because the inverted winger starts out wide, so he'll drag out defenders and then attack the open half space. In this clip, we're defending in our own half, and the inverted winger is about to get the ball. He takes it out wide like a traditional winger. At the halfway line, the two defenders have him pinned in. But by doing this, the defense has left open the half space, which is what the inverted winger loves to attack. His diagonal movement will take advantage of this open space, and we get an overload on the other side. But I am bearing the lead a little bit because I'm sure you're wondering, what's the difference between an inverted winger and an inside forward? So we're going to talk about that in the next section. So the inside forward and inverted winger. Let's start by talking about some of the things they have in common because they are similar roles. They both like to dribble at their defender. They can both create scoring chances, either for themselves or a teammate. And they both look to put pressure on the defense by attacking space. But they do have differences. An inside forward has a striker mindset, with an emphasis on scoring, cutting parallel to the goal, and using the attacking midfield area. The inverted winger has a creator mindset, cutting diagonally, and can take advantage of the wider areas. Let's first look at their off-the-ball movement. We're defending in our own half, and the inverted winger gets the ball. This is the inside forward, who's going to stay in this half space. After the inverted winger has passed it, he's going to drift back out wide, which is the winger part of his role coming out. The inside forward is still in this half space. When the shot is taken, this is their final positioning. The inside forward is on the front line and is actually the furthest player forward. The inverted winger is sitting back in that second phase of attack. Now that we know their off-the-ball movement, let's look at what the inside forward does in attack. My inverted winger is dribbling and loses the ball. The defense clears it, but it's picked up by the inside forward. When he makes his move, it's a cut inside towards the midfield, and then ends with his shot on goal. And here, when the inside forward gets the ball after a throw-in, he's going to cut into the center of the field parallel to the byline. The inside forward's movement is often into central areas, usually with his first thought on scoring. And again, the inverted winger is more of a creator, so when he gets in the box, his first thought is to pass. My inverted winger is chasing down a pass down the flank. When he gains possession, he's going to head into the box. He doesn't have much of an angle and would prefer to pass to a teammate anyways. Or here, where the inverted winger gets a pass in the attacking midfield and then plays a diagonal ball for the assist. Let's see how they all compare in terms of creating versus scoring. On the left would be an inverted winger on support, the role most focused on being a creator. On the right would be the inside forward on attack, the role most focused on being a scorer. An inside forward on support would be here, still a scorer at heart, but with a little more focus on being a creator. And the inverted winger on attack would be here, still a creator at heart, but with a little more focus on being a scorer. For some player examples, as you've probably guessed, there is a ton of attribute overlap. But there are 3 things you should look for when choosing between the 2 in your formation and an extra tactical preference. The first is the crossing attribute, which is an attribute needed for the inverted winger, but not the inside forward. The decisions attribute, which is another attribute needed for the inverted winger, but not the inside forward. And finally, the finishing attribute, which is an attribute needed for the inside forward, but not the inverted winger. My personal tactical preference is how adept they are at using either foot. Our first player example is Matoma from Brighton. He is one of the highest dribbling attributes in the game, and I favor that more for an inside forward than the inverted winger. He has low crossing, but again, that's not really needed for this role. And he can only use his right foot, meaning if you play him on the left side, he'll want to cut in using that dominant foot, which is perfect for the inside forward. For the inverted winger, maybe look at Pedri from Barcelona. He can use either foot, which is also beneficial because you can play him on either side of your formation. And for those inverted winger specific ones, he's got great crossing and decisions. He is very low finishing, but you see that it's not even a required attribute. Hopefully these videos help show you that there are a lot of overlap in the roles in Football Manager, and you use these different roles to give your tactics flexibility, not necessarily because one is better than the other. Let's say you're making a formation and you're picking what role to use in this wide area. So you ask yourself, what do I want this player to do when they have the ball? If it's to stay wide and get in crosses, use a winger. If you want the role to be a threat in front of goal, try an inside forward. Or if you think the winger stays out too wide, but the inside forward is too attacking, try an inverted winger. And now that we know how these 2 roles work, let's see how they do in a tactic. The tactic we're using today is the same one we used in the deep lying forward and shadow striker video, a 4-2-3-1 with Bayer Leverkusen. In this tactic, we sit back with a low block and a low defensive line, wait for teams to turn the ball over, and then hit them quickly on the counter. This is one of the benefits to using an inverted winger. In a counter system, I love to use a traditional winger because they stay out wide and get in crosses. Well, an inverted winger is going to do some of those things too, but he's also going to attack those half spaces, so you're getting a best of both worlds. The deep lying forward and shadow striker are an excellent combo as we've seen, and Leverkusen has some incredible wingbacks, so I use them on either side as well. Our primary inverted winger for that season was Jonas Hoffmann on the support duty. He's at least reasonable with his other foot, and his dribbling is a bit low, but I don't mind that as much for the inverted winger on support. He has exceptional playmaking skills with 15 passing, 16 off the ball, and 16 vision. This makes him a dangerous option out on the wing. When deciding on whether to use the inverted winger on support or attack in your tactic, think about who your attacking threats are. Let's go back to the Bayer Leverkusen tactic and say I wanted to use a 4-3-3 instead. A traditional winger on one side could be on support and focus on getting crosses in, which means an inverted winger on attack can be more of a threat and have a little more focus on scoring, while still giving benefits of a 2-winger system. This is also where the inverted winger comes in handy, since he can play in a deeper position like in a 4-4-2. The role functions the same, it's just that he's sitting further back in his starting position, which helps when defending. But in the 4-2-3-1 I use, I already have a shadow striker who is focused on scoring. So that means the inverted winger can be on support and focus more on being that creator. Let's do a highlight breakdown to see how it all works together. We pick up the highlight when we have the ball at midfield, attacking to our right and passing the ball around. One thing I love about this formation is the passing triangles it creates. Right now my center back is on the ball, and with the deep lying playmaker and other center back, we have a passing triangle. And at the bottom of the screen, our inverted winger, wingback, and segundo volante have also created a passing triangle. If you add in our deep lying forward, there are numerous avenues in which we can attack the opponent with our passing. As we play on, the center back passes it to the segundo volante, who passes it to the inverted winger. He's going to make his diagonal cut right into the half space. But if you notice, our backline passing has brought the defense to our side, meaning we have an overload on the opposite side. My shadow striker is going to get the ball, and watch this defender as he doesn't know who to mark. As we watch the highlight again at full speed, look at the passing and how it brings the defense to one side of the field, which creates an overload on the other. As we wrap up, let's look at some player instructions and different player traits you can use. For player instructions, using Jonas Hoffmann again, I love his passing ability, so to highlight that, when he has the ball, I can use take more risks and shoot less often to make sure he focuses more on passing rather than trying to score. These player instructions also fit with the role and duty he's on, since an inverted winger on support is more focused on passing than scoring. With player traits, some of the ones you want to look for would be things like cuts inside, tries tricks, and for how I like the role to play, looks for pass rather than attempting to score. Player traits that wouldn't work too well with this role would be ones like dwells on ball, runs with ball down the left or right, and comes deep to get the ball. Anyway, that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.